Speaking of jokes, the one made by Bernie Sanders campaign guy was shamefully, cynically overblown by Clinton and Emily's List. The guy was being ironic, and it was grandstanding like every single campaign does, and I thought it was funny myself. It's sad Bernie threw his guy under the bus. Yeah, I want to talk about that for a second. There has been recently, things are obviously heating up between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. You saw after the debate, Bernie Sanders definitely getting more willing to at least implicitly underline a contrast between them as candidates. He said in his Jefferson Jackson speech, which we played on the show, he talked about people's efforts to rewrite history on gay rights and other pivotal issues, which clearly, look, Hillary Clinton shifted on. There's no debate about that. And you can debate her motivations and you can debate her explanation, but on any number of issues from criminal justice to marriage equality to TPP, Hillary Clinton has shifted. Bernie Sanders has been profoundly consistent, and including at times when, as he pointed out, these issues are very unpopular. And in response, what Hillary's campaign has done, and I think it's for two reasons. I mean, first, it's a line of attack on Bernie Sanders, and it's also to test out, frankly, in a general election. They've been implying that Bernie Sanders' campaign has a sexism problem. And you first saw that when Hillary Clinton said, in response to the debate, when Bernie Sanders said, all the shouting in the world is not going to get anything done on guns. I think it was pretty obvious that he wasn't sort of specifically singling out Hillary. But Hillary, in her Jefferson Jackson speech, said, sometimes when women are saying something, they get accused of shouting. I wasn't shouting. I'm paraphrasing her in a dig at Sanders. And then recently, last week, one of Bernie Sanders' top advisors joked that, of course, his campaign would consider Hillary Clinton as vice president. And there was this outburst from different Clinton surrogates and also from Emily's List saying that Bernie Sanders' campaign was being disrespectful and dismissive to Hillary Clinton. And in fact, Bernie Sanders, as you said in your IM, he actually did disavow the statements and sort of throw his spokesperson under the bus. Now, look, should the guy have said that? Obviously not. It's not a smart play to give any opening for that lane of attack in this primary. Now, that said, the notion, I mean, I'll give you an obscure example that I just remembered this morning. When Orrin Hatch was running for 2 seconds in the Republican primary in 2000, he was probably polling at like less than Lincoln Chafee was polling. Total asterisk. He said in a debate to George W. Bush, who was the massive frontrunner, you know, you would be a good president after 2 terms as my vice president. The joke and the subtle put down and dig in primary seasons of other people being your running mate is incredibly common. And in fact, it happens sometimes. John Kerry picks John Edwards. Ronald Reagan picks George H.W. Bush. It's pretty common. Barack Obama dismissed the Clintons, saying that he should be Hillary's vice president in 2008. So the Clinton campaign jumping on this is unbelievably cynical. And I think the comment about shouting is unbelievably cynical. The Bernie Sanders campaign needs to be really, really careful about their language, and they also should look at their leadership because it is a predominantly male-run campaign. And that does lead potentially to mishaps like that. But I do think it's incredibly cynical of the Clinton campaign to use that, and I think it's the type of thing that cheapens an incredibly real and important issue. And also, even though it's a test run right now, in a general election, when it comes from Republicans, it is going to be real, and it is going to be misogyny. And if you cry wolf in a primary against a guy who is absolutely not doing it, who has a great record on these issues, it could potentially undermine the ability to really highlight it when it's actually happening.